Hello there, thank you for joining us from wherever you are. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Kukumlimle. Our digital address GA0992539. Our top stories this hour. 1,824 persons killed in road accidents in 9 months. The Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service is worried as it identifies attitude of road users and unskilled drivers as problems that must be solved. We continue to hit on this national crisis as we pursue solutions. And Volta Regional Minister confirms viral video showing retrieval of arms stolen by rioting secessionists who brutalized police commander and ransacked the AFIA police station. We're live with the minister as we get details on that development. Also, filing of presidential nominations continue at the Electoral Commission as opposition NDC's General Secretary is expected to file that of flag bearer John Mahama's later today. We're close to the action on the ground and we'll bring you the update. Those are top stories this hour. My name is Gifty Andopia. You can join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. We're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. This is The Pulse. Please be my guest. The Volta Regional Police Command has retrieved some rifles from a young man believed to be a member of the secessionist group that broke into the Mepe and AFIA police station last month. 19 weapons, 15 AK-47 and 4 pump-action guns were taken at the AFIA police station. 2 weapons were also taken from Mepe Armory. The attack on both police stations has been widely condemned following the group's successful attack on that armory there. Well, here is that viral video of the police retrieving the stolen rifles.
The coverage should be better.
Yes, sir.
He said he put 2. He add the own.
It's okay.
No. No, make it hold on like this, Lima. Leader shall have a BGN.
Hey, there's only one commander here. No.
So yeah, otherwise I'm going to go.
Turn around, sir. Turn around.
Cool down.
You don't carry this. Okay.
Rounds the color of
can you for round? Thank you. Good. You see, I never open your issue.
when you're a cat, you're a cat, but a busable. Obey that one.
Well, when you're a cat, you're 2 buza. Apotia.
See, you can do on a honor.
I make a boy never della.
On my own, young for it. Now, let's go. You do win. The coverage should be better.
Yes, sir.
He said he put 2. He add the own.
It's okay.
No.
No, make it hold on like this, Lima. Leader shall have a BGN.
Hey, there's only one commander here. No.
So that's a video that has gone viral. It's all over social media. Let's get on the line and speak to the regional minister, the Volta regional minister, Dr. Archibald LETSA, who also heads the regional security committee. Dr. LETSA, thank you very much. Security Council, I must say. Dr. LETSA, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Let's start with this particular operation. First of all, it looks like a gentleman has been arrested and he is leading police officers to a place where he hid or where the guns were hidden. First of all, was this a special police operation?
Yeah, the operation, I think it was carried out on Sunday night, and some people were arrested, and they had to, one of them took the security men to the farm where the guns, the ammunition were retrieved. So that is the video that you have seen. Since then, many other arrests have been made. And what I would say is that the investigations are still ongoing. The security operations are ongoing. And we expect that more arrests will be made in the next few days and more weapons retrieved.
How many other people have you arrested apart from this gentleman we see leading the police?
I would say that in total, on that particular day, about 17. Since then, several people have been arrested. So we're getting to a total of 100 so far.
How comfortable are security operatives, given that this video has gone viral and it shows one of the, let me say, your prime suspects in this particular case, as he's leading you? How comfortable is operatives that his face is shown out there? And will this not jeopardize the operations going forward?
No, we don't think so. We don't think so. Because the security operatives are working, and they are not wearing any, apart from the masks to protect us from COVID-19. They are going out their duties as normal, and they don't feel threatened beyond the normal threat level that they normally face during the course of their duties. But I must commend their commitment and their dedication, and the way they are handling the operation in the Volta region is going on very, very well. And I'm sure that we'll get over this very soon.
Okay. This gentleman obviously looks like he is cooperating with police to be able to lead you to where they allegedly hid the guns, and he actually found it there in the video that we saw. Does this mean that he perhaps will attract less penalty?
That is left to the judicial system. We have made several arrests. We've sent them to Accra for further interrogation and possible prosecution. Since this gentleman and the group were arrested, several others have been arrested, and even yesterday we did some arrests, and the national security is handling these recent arrests because of strategic reasons. These arrests are sent to Accra for further interrogation and possible prosecution.
Okay, so the first, I just want to be clear, the first bit of the arrest was led by the police service, but you're saying that yesterday there were some arrests made. It was led by the national security. You put the number at 17, those that were arrested after this gentleman was arrested. Does it make it 18? And how many new people were picked up by national security, just so we can put a figure to what we have so far?
Yeah, when I talk about national security, I'm talking about police, military, BNI, and all the security agencies working together. Right. We work hand in hand when the intelligence comes, meetings are held, and the operations are carried out. The numbers, I can only say that so far, a total of about 100 arrests have been made, and they are being interrogated, and the appropriate actions will be taken on each one of them.
Okay, let's talk about the weapons that were retrieved. Can you walk us through the nature of, I mean, we've mentioned some, but let's take us through one after the other, if you can, the weaponry we're looking at here.
Yeah, we have some AK-47 rifles, and then we have some single-barrel guns and assorted kinds of ammunition. That the security people will be the better place to describe them. But as far as I am concerned, the weapons retrieved so far are AK-47, and several others have been retrieved, but I cannot share with you the details as of now. But the police will be in a better position to provide us the information, because these operations are ongoing. They are evolving. I mean, every minute, every second, every hour, something is happening. So what I can say is that the security agencies are on top of their job. They are handling the situation very well.
Right.
The region is very safe for people to come and transact their business. There is no danger to life or property, and we can assure Ghanaians that Volta region is peaceful enough for them to visit and to transact business.
Okay.
The security agencies are totally in control of the situation.
Just a quick one.
Everybody must be calm.
Just a quick one, sir. So we're having these figures as the number of weapons that were taken or that were retrieved from the AFIA police station. Just correct me if I'm wrong. So we're looking at 19 weapons, 15 of them AK-47 and 4 pump-action guns. Is that what your notes reflect?
Yeah, we had 14 AK-47 rifles, and AFIA 3 pump-action guns, 1 shotguns, 1 pistol, and other weapons. And then, yeah, I think you are right. Okay,
a little bit of additions there as well. So 14 AK-47, 1 pistol, 1 shotgun, 3 pump-action guns, and some others.
Yeah, all kind of assorted. There are some I don't know what they are.
Very well.
1 Mark 4 rifle, Mark 3 rifle, and other things. But the summary of the whole thing is that ammunition were stolen from the police stations, and the security agencies are doing everything possible to make sure they are retrieved.
Okay. Let's talk about the condition of the commander who was attacked and his men. What's the condition of these people?
They are doing very well at the hospital in Accra. They are responding to treatment.
You indicated that I'm actually wishing that you can give us a bit more information on the state of the commander, because responding to treatment is really general.
Commander is out of danger now. He's stable. He's doing quite well. The regional crime officer visited him in the hospital in Accra, and she tells me he's doing quite well.
Okay. Can you give us an idea?
We're hoping that he'll be discharged soon.
Okay. I was going to ask about an idea of the source of wound, the kind of wound that took him to the police station, and how that has improved, for example.
Yeah, apart from the physical assault, he also suffered a gunshot wound. And luckily, I'm informed that it didn't penetrate the bone or something like that, and it's been the cartridges have since been, or the bullets have since been retrieved from the body. And I think the surgeons have handled that. So he's doing well from the reports that I've received. The regional crime officer has visited him and tells us that he's doing quite well.
Great. I'll finish the conversation by referring you to something you said. You said that the Volta region is safe, and you're assuring everybody that it is safe. If you want to do business, you're free to come. But give us a sense of the sense of security generally, given that there were plans by the Asogli warriors apparently to support security agencies to stop these secessionists. How is that, arrangement, if you like, going? That's if there was any arrangement like that at all.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that they were just anxious to offer support to the security agencies, and we've asked them if they have any information to provide us and to help the security agencies to get to the bottom of this. Because security agencies depend on intelligence. So they should be able to assist us, the security agencies, to be able to apprehend the perpetrators of these criminal actions. So they also had another youth press conference also to condemn those behind this and took some spiritual actions. But the important thing is that I believe they are very anxious to make sure that those who are responsible for these criminal acts against the state are apprehended and brought to justice. So they offer their assistance, and we're working closely with them to get the necessary intelligence and information from them. But that doesn't mean that they are taking over the security of the area. The security services are in charge, and they welcome any support from any citizen of the region or anywhere else to help us to get to the bottom of this.
Is their help, or was their help instrumental in reaching where you are now in terms of the investigation and the arrests?
No, I think that we need the help of everybody. We need the help of everybody, including the Asogli youth. We need the help of all. And thankfully, people are providing us a lot of information. Okay. People are coming out with a lot of intelligence. We are very happy with that. It means that the people don't support what is going on, and they want to help us to get it sorted out as soon as possible. So we appreciate all those who are helping us with information, and we'll do everything possible to protect their identity.
Doc, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We really appreciate your time and your patience in breaking down the issues for us. Dr. Archibald LETSA is the Volta Regional Minister. He leads also the Regional Security Council. There, at least 100 people have been arrested, is what we take away from this particular conversation. He says it is an ongoing operation, so more people are being, the people are being interrogated. They're hoping to arrest more people and to retrieve more of their ammunition, as if they don't have all that they have already. So far, 14 AK-47 guns have been retrieved, a single-barreled gun, 1 pistol, 1 shotgun, 3 pump-action gun, and some others that he couldn't really describe. But some progress made there. In the meantime, though, you heard him talk about the youth in Asogli State in the Volta region. Well, they've been performing some rituals to invoke their gods and deities to strike individuals behind the recent secessionist attacks in parts of the region. The youth condemned the attacks and have backed the traditional authorities' offer to deploy warriors to complement efforts of the security agencies in dealing with the people behind the attacks. Here is convener of the youth, Nuti Fafa Degbo.
By one Kevin Taylor, supposedly based in the United States of America, in which he alleged that the government was planning to send vigilantes to foment trouble in the region ahead of the elections, which, with a view to disrupting same. Within the context of Kevin Taylor's video, we have also been following keenly statements in the media from the separatist group denying involvement to once again express our frustration and displeasure about verbal effusions and disrespect to our chiefs and the people of Volta region by leading political figures which have not been addressed by the appropriate authorities, including but not limited to one. The statement a few years ago by Honorable Kennedy Ajipon, MP for Asin Central, urging the killing of Voltarians and guns. 2. The recent statement by KT Hammond, recorded on video, that the people of the Volta region are not Ghanaians but Togolese. 3. The disrespect shown to the chiefs during visits by political leaders to the region. 4. Attacks on the Agbogbomefia, Togbe, appeared there the 14th by Mr. Freddie Blay, the MPP National Chairman. 5. Recent audio tape in circulation in which the MPP Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Bafo, aka Abronye DC, is heard pouring out. We have therefore initiated series of spiritual exercises in readiness for the task ahead and would invoke the gods and the spirits of our ancestors to strike any leader who is betraying the people of the Volta region for his or her selfish gains. Long live Ghana, long live Volta, long live Asogli State.
Asantehene Otunforsei to the second is calling on traditional leaders to uphold the chieftaincy institution by staying neutral in all partisan affairs. This comes in the wake of the political campaign ahead of the general elections. You'd recall last week that an issue became topical after some traditional leaders openly endorsed politicians.
One day, and another year, baby, what? Near the hook of Rafra, dear, Nekofa, Assam Naba. Yenina will be a Amayokwe, Midim Subia, what you open, and so you so many when you munko yebi. Yemi Aquasi and Kotuaba. And they are who to me. Name Mum CSC, Yamayokuna, you and Makujina, we yet and now we yet there. I'm Ghana, she said, no crime, may a
You had Otunforsei to the second there. I'm going to take a very quick break. When we return, we do have more stories for you, including someone who has killed his wife or allegedly killed his wife and their 13-year-old child. Do stay with us. More of the political stories. NDC flag bearer John Mahama says his administration did a good job despite having to deal with an Ebola threat. At the launch of his campaign at Seshuyoso in the Western region, the former president said he grew the economy by $14 billion as compared to the $4 billion by the Akufo-Addo administration. Mr. Mahama is promising to transform the economy by investing in technology if elected.
I want to assure all the teeming supporters of NDC, our sympathizers, well-wishers, and the millions of people waiting to vote for John Mahama, Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, and the NDC that we are winning this election. We are determined, and the Electoral Commission, and indeed no institution or anybody can and should try to subvert the will of the Ghanaian people. We have had concerns to draw the Commission's attention to many instances of infraction and actions that have not satisfied us. While we're expecting the Commission will live above reproach, I want to assure you all that the NDC is very well prepared and we will police the ballots from all polling stations. From all polling stations, through the constituencies, to the regional, and finally to the National Collation Center. This is our battle for Ghana's future. Let's embrace it like our very lives depend on it, because Ghana deserves to be in a better place where everyone has the chance to thrive and prosper. We will rescue our country. Feel it, believe it, and let's deliver it. And since then, we have fought hard to consolidate and improve our gains. We've come a long way in the last 10 years, but we are today facing a clear risk of being stuck at this low level of development. This is our major vulnerability as a nation. This government has made no real effort to begin to create an economy that generates prosperity for all our people. There has been very little investment in innovation and creativity, the main drivers of prosperity, and we're still witnessing many cases of institutional failure. To create sustainable and ever-growing prosperity, something we all deserve, it requires building a robust social and economic infrastructure, one that supports creativity, innovation, and the production of high-valued added products and services. The risk of becoming a country trapped in poverty is unfortunately boosted by the fact that while we're fighting hard to consolidate our status as a developing country, the advanced nations are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution, transitioning from a post-industrial world to the world of smart technology, and from a production-based economy to a knowledge-based one. In simple words, the advanced world is moving in one direction, while we are still moving in the direction the world moved 20 or 30 years ago.
NDC flag bearer John Mahama there. He's expected to go into the community to embark on a house-to-house campaign. Members and supporters of the party are also expected to replicate this retail campaign in the regions and the constituencies in due course. Let's come back to Accra and connect with Kwesi Parker Wilson. He's stationed at the Electoral Commission headquarters to bring us an update on the filing of nominations. Parker, we expected the NDC's General Secretary to file that nomination on behalf of the flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. Has that happened? If not, what is happening?
I can report to you that that hasn't happened. If you look on the deck there, our microphones are ready, our cameras are ready, most of the media personnel here are ready to capture the filing of the NDC. But since about 11 a.m. that we were told that they were coming, they are yet to arrive at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. In fact, the spokesperson for the commission, Madame Soviano, indicated to us about 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago that the NDC were going to come to the headquarters around 2 p.m. Now it's just about some minutes into 3 p.m. and still we are not getting any information as to whether the NDC is coming to file nomination on behalf of their flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. But I'm happy to speak to the public Director of Public Affairs for the Electoral Commission, Madam Soviano here. Madam, please, do we know why the NDC hasn't arrived yet?
Thank you very much, Pastor. What I do know, I can confess, is the fact that they indicated they were going to be here at 11 in the morning originally, and then it was shifted to 2 p.m. And it's past 3:30 right now, and we are still waiting. But we are supposed to end filing for today as usual by 5 p.m. So we are well within the time. So we are still waiting.
But have you received any communication from the NDC or official communication as to why they are not here?
The director of the election, Dr. Chief, was informed that they will be here by 2. That was earlier on.
Yeah.
That was after the 11. Now we are here. We are waiting for them.
I see. So I get understanding that there's been any communication between the DC and then the NDC.
The last time I saw them, I have been here for some time.
Right.
With a journalist. So we'll be waiting for some time now. But the Dr. Chief indicated that we were going to be here at 2. So we all, we've been here for some time waiting for them. But like I keep saying, we are supposed to end filing by 5 p.m. But for administrative purposes, we ask the political party to indicate to us when they will be coming, when they will be filing their nomination, so that we prepare adequately for them. Are we here for some time?
Okay. So you see, that was the acting director of public affairs for the Electoral Commission, but I'm still not there. They are yet to receive an official communication from the NDC. So they are still waiting. In fact, filing of the nomination ends at 5 p.m. and so they are waiting. But what I can report to you is that the Progressive People's Party will be here in just about 15 to 20 minutes. The General Secretary confirmed to me that they are on their way, and very soon they will come and file on behalf of their flag bearer in the person of Madame Bridget Jaboniku. So that is what we are waiting for. If you look behind me, you can see our cameras and everything ready, positioned to capture the filing of the nation for today. But we are yet to do that. Since we arrived here, even I can see some even arrived out as early as 8 a.m. and they are still here. Nothing is happening at the EC headquarters, and no information from the NDC has come as to why they are delaying. So this is what I can report to you from the EC headquarters.
It's something I was a bit curious about. I wanted to find out from Madam Sylviano whether this is from the Electoral Commission's experience typical. That do they usually encounter such situations where political parties will say we'll show up at this time and didn't show up clear 2-3 hours to the time? I was just curious about that.
Well, so I had that conversation earlier with Dr. Sherbo, and he told me that the file of nomination spans between on the 5th to the 9th of October. That is Monday to Friday. So they're going to end on Friday. But of course, they give the political parties an opportunity to indicate to them when they will be filing so that the EC can prepare. So if the NDC is not able to come today, of course, there's an opportunity for them tomorrow and subsequently on Friday for them to file the nomination on behalf of their flag bearer. So they still have about 2 days to do that. And of course, if they don't do that by Friday, what it means is that the NDC would have to be out of the 2020 January.
So, with all the work and the campaigns that are ongoing, like Madam Sylviano said, we're what? It's about 3:38, so there's still a little bit of time before 5 p.m. But Parker, apart from that, has the EC been sharing any information with you that our audience should know?
Okay, so what we know is that in this election or the final nomination, about 4 independent candidates picked up, downloaded the forms that the EC is expecting that they come and file already. We know about Mr. Walker, Jacob Osayabo filed on behalf of Mr. Walker yesterday. So there are other 3 candidates who are yet to file, and about 13 political parties who are also yet to file. We know from yesterday that some political parties have filed, and with that, by close of Friday, those who will be filing would mean that they are the ones who would go into the elections. And let me say that after submitting the nomination forms, it's not automatic that the EC has approved the nomination and that you have been cleared to contest in those elections. The EC has set up 2 committees, and they are going to validate the information as put out by these political parties. And so when they are done with vetting the forms or validating the information, and of course cross-checking whether indeed registered voters endorse the form, that is when you can say that you are fully a candidate for this year's election.
No, as and when that happens, and we'll cross right over to you. Kwesi Parker Wilson, my colleague there, on standby at the Electoral Commission headquarters right here in Accra, as we wait for the NDC to file their nomination, which was billed for 11/2, and we're still waiting. PPP, he says, are also expected to show up and also to file theirs. But let's do some more of the politics. Now, every major development that has happened on my land can be traced to the NDC. And I'm praying to God for you to win so you can bring a tertiary school to us. These were the words of the Achim Akroso Chief Nana Kwabena Ofori when the running mate of flag bearer of the NDC, Professor Jenana Opoku-Adjumah, paid a courtesy call on the chief at his palace as part of her campaign tour of the Eastern region. His endorsement for the opposition party, according to him, is as a result of what he describes as massive developmental projects undertaken in his area by the NDC anytime it gets the opportunity to govern. The chief, who openly endorsed the party, said his area was underdeveloped until the NDC administration took over and changed their condition. Professor Jenano Pokwajimande, she was talking about the shift system, or if you like, the truck system, and she was essentially saying that it's not the best and something has to be done about it. But still on the election or election-related matters, the Member of Parliament for North Tongue constituency, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, is optimistic that the NDC will be re-elected. He asked that the NDC will score 98% in the polls, giving 2% to the other political parties in the area. The MP said this after he submitted his nomination form at the EC office in Aveime.
Message to the Akufo-Addo government that the discrimination, the harassment of minority groups must stop. In as much as we condemn all the separatist agendas and all of that, it's important that we also reflect on the kind of conduct. If you see what happened during the registration, the political rhetoric, when they are discussing airports, for example, you hear the Vice President say that, Cape Coast should rather have had the airport and not Ho, which the NDC did for the Volta region. And all of that, the Voltarians are Togolese, you don't have enough human beings in Hohoi. All of those unfortunate rhetoric, by political hardliners and divisionists should not be encouraged. And the modus operandi to send in soldiers and intimidate and harass to see how they can suppress votes in the Volta region, all those things must stop. Even as we condemn separatists, we condemn the activities of so-called secession. And we are saying that it's even possible that all of this can even be an agenda by some evil-minded elements to hide behind so-called secessionism and just destabilize the Volta region. That's why we are demanding a full-scale inquiry. Let's know exactly what is going on. Who are these perpetrators? Who is sponsoring them? Who is training them? Who is weaponizing them? Who is buying these very expensive weapons for them? So there's so many things that we want answers to, and our national security must be up and doing. This was a security failure, an intelligence failure. It should not happen again. We are peace-loving people. Our territorial integrity must be protected. Our security must be protected. Our boundaries should always be kept safe. People should not be allowed to come in and foment trouble and create all the chaos that we have witnessed.
North Tongue MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. Now, Parliament is urging the Ministry of Finance to release an outstanding amount of 329 million cedis to the Electoral Commission to enable it to adequately organize the upcoming elections. A report of Parliament's Special Budgets Committee on the roadmap to the elections observed the amount as part of a 1 billion cedi budget approved by Parliament for the Commission on the 2020 in the 2020 budget. Majority Leader Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu tells JoyNews both sides of the House agree that the EC is on course to organize a good election.
The position was that what amount they were looking for to procure the biometrics, if the 329 was not released to them, it wasn't going to be possible for them to be able to procure the verification materials, the biometric registration and verification equipment that will be worth its salt. So that was the position.
And once that was done, then everyone is satisfied with the preparedness going into 2020.
The preparedness, we generally agreed as of that time.
Okay.
But the issue was, after everything, he said, look, let me still, even though we agree that your state of preparedness is high, and we urge you to do this, to do A, B, and C, the position of the minority at the time in respect of the mass registration, he said he wanted it on record, that the position of the NDC was that they were against it. And so we needed to factor that in the report, which is what we did.
There have been calls for the EC boss to come brief members general. In fact, your colleague Muntakamubar spoke to us recently and said that all EC bosses have been before Parliament, and not specifically just special budget committees.
Why do they come?
As far as you know,
is it ritualistic that they should come? Is it just ritualistic that they should come? They come to report on germane issues to us. In this case, the minority leader was the one who made a request. I leveled it to the special budget committee. When we came to plenary, he made a point again that they should come to the plenary. It was a week after that Muntaka, speaking to the same issue, said that we should invite them to the plenary. But already the request had gone to the EC that they should come before the special budget committee. It's not as if anybody would want to protect the EC from coming to plenary. But even the meeting with the special budget committee, it was a bit delayed because members insisted that they wanted the chairperson to be there. So even when the chairperson was otherwise engaged, we insisted that we want her to be there. So the meeting, we called the meeting, and I think it took about a month before she was free to join the other colleagues in the commission to be with us at the special budget committee. And if the explanations that she offered, and indeed the commission offered, was satisfactory.
Majority Leader Oseiche Mensah Bonsu there. Let's get to Parliament. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is joining me so we can break this down a bit further. Joseph, tell us a bit more about this report of the Special Budget Committee on the EC, which the House approved today. Joseph?
Gifty, can you hear me?
I do hear you. Did you hear the question, or do you need me to repeat it?
I would kindly have to go over that again.
Right. So I want you to tell us a bit more about this particular report. My understanding is that it is a report. The Special Budget Committee has approved it today. Help us understand it if we didn't get it right.
So what happened is that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission appeared before Parliament sometime in June. It wasn't Parliament as a whole. It was actually an appearance before the Special Budget Committee of Parliament. And you know that's the committee that actually approves the budget of the Electoral Commission before then it comes to the plenary. So that particular report that was put together by the Special Budget Committee is what the House debated today and went ahead to give the necessary approval for. It looked at, among others, the preparations that the EC had been making towards not just the upcoming elections, but even the voter registration exercise, which we saw a few weeks ago. And then there was the general roadmap that the EC had laid out on the processes leading to the elections. Now, it makes the point, among others, and I just want to quote the final conclusion as contained in the report. It says, the committee, in this case, the Special Budget Committee, is generally satisfied with the level of preparedness of the Electoral Commission for the conduct of the voter registration exercise and the 2020 presidential and general elections. Then it goes on to say the committee, however, noted that the commission is operating with a very tight schedule and urged the commission to strictly adhere to the roadmap as it had outlined and to ensure a successful registration exercise. Then the report goes on to say the committee therefore strongly urges the finance minister to ensure the release of the outstanding 329 million Ghana cedis carried from 2019 to enable the commission to provide all the relevant equipment and devices for the successful conduct of the election. And so this is the report that came to the House. There was the outline on how the committee was planning to procure various equipment in order to allow for both a successful registration and also to allow for a successful conduct of the upcoming elections. And as the House debated and approved this report today, there was a clarion call from MPs on the Electoral Commission to do all it can to ensure that the upcoming election is actually as free and fair as possible, so that then the results are accepted by all. We sought to get that clarification from members of Parliament on whether, since the committee appeared before them, which was in June, there's been any change with regards to the release of this 329 million Ghana cedis. And the committee members and MPs indicate that from their checks, that said amount has still not been released between the time the committee members appeared before the committee and now, and which is why they are repeating that clarion call on the Finance Ministry to release that said amount to the Electoral Commission.
Great. Joseph, thank you very much for that breakdown. It makes a lot of sense now. But what else happened in Parliament briefly, if you can give that to us?
This morning, when the House began sitting, there were only about 16 MPs on the floor out of the 275. And James Klucha-Veji raised the issue of them not having a quorum because you need at least 1/3 of all MPs on the floor before business begins. But he was eventually overruled by the Speaker, Professor Michael Quay, after the majority leader said that there had been an earlier conversation that these are difficult times for MPs who are seeking re-election. So then, issues of quorum can be ignored and business can be continued. So business actually went ahead and they approved loan projects in order to provide water, including the Sunyani water project and all. And there is a legislation that the House is looking at to move the Ghana Cocoa Board from the Ministry of Finance, which is currently its supervisory ministry, to the Ministry of Agri that the House debated, and the House is expected to approve a little later in the month.
Joseph, thank you so much for those updates. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent with those updates on what happened there today. Away from the politics, a 43-year-old Burkina Faso national has been arrested by the police for allegedly murdering his German girlfriend and her 13-year-old daughter and secretly burying them in a nearby bush in their house near Kokrobite. According to residents, the two have been living together with the deceased daughter since January 2020 until their sudden disappearance. And let's get on to Zoom. I have DSP AFIA TENGE, who speaks for the Accra Region Police, joining us to give us more details on this. Hello, DSP AFIA TENGE.
Hello, good afternoon.
Right, good afternoon. So let's start with this story. Was this a result of an ongoing investigation, or was it an outright confession by the person you have in custody?
Yes, good afternoon. Regarding the murder that's occurred around Kokrobite, the police have been able to interrogate the suspect, where he has confessed to us, but we also see it as part of police investigation. Confession alone does not mean that is the end of what the police is doing. We are still investigating all the information that we have been able to gather from the suspect. Together with other information, we are still gathering from eyewitness accounts and any other person who give us any information for the police to analyze.
Well, let's look at the you provide, you provided some information to the media in which you list what actually happened. That apparently there was a stench coming from the house. That was the only thing that made it possible for this to get out.
Yes, actually, this report came to the police yesterday evening, and the report was made by some residents within the area. And according to them, they suspect, the suspect we have now in our custody of having murdered the girlfriend and also the daughter because of some attitudes he was putting up within the area, or his demeanor was giving him out.
And also, apart from that too, they have not seen the deceased for some time now. And when they ask him, he's not been able to give them any information that suggests that they are still alive. And so it is an information that was of police interest, and therefore the police had to follow up with that. They also spoke about a stench. Yes, that was also coming from the area there, which the police have gone to also inspect, and we have found the area where we suspect the deceased may have been buried.
So what did you find? And is this something that gives you indication that these are human remains?
Yes, the police went there yesterday evening, and also this morning and even this afternoon. The police have been there, and we are able to exhume the remains, because in doing so we need an exhumation order from the court, and that is what the police have been able to do. But before that, there's some inspection we do as police officers that tells us that there is some bodies, or that there's something of interest that has been buried under the ground that we suspect it will confirm the information that we are having.
I see. This person, according to your statement, is a German, and the daughter, I believe, is also German. This is said, so it takes an international twist from here. Are you having to work with the German embassy here in Ghana, for example, or how is this matter being handled?
Yes, absolutely. As part of police work, issues that concerns other foreigners, immediately we need to also inform the embassy, which I know the officers who are handling the case are doing so.
It'll be interesting to hear from their side as well. But DSP AFIA TENGE, will say a very big thanks. But what happens from here? The suspect is in your custody. Having confessed, what are the next steps that the police administration is taking?
Yes, yes. For now, we intend to get the suspect remanded. Then that will also give police the ample time to interrogate further or thoroughly as to the motive behind the murder. And also, we also intend to also secure the exhumation order, which we are almost through. Then we can get the pathologist together with the crime scene experts, and also the EPA, that is, if possible, to go to the scene for the exhumation to be done. Then after that, we can have the pathological examination done on the bodies, and that is when we'll be able to know the actual cause of death.
That's a very difficult story to tell, but thank you so much. As you are yet to establish the motive, I'm wondering if he has told you anything since you arrested him.
Yes, for him, all that he has been able to tell the police was that there was a misunderstanding that ensued between the two of them. And so it's landed, or it had to end the way it did. But unfortunately, the daughter saw him murdering the mother. That is how come he also had to murder the daughter, so that he can conceal that bit of information, or in order for the daughter not to expose him to the police. So that is what we have from him now. But all these are his statements, and we expect to also do our investigations to analyze all that we have been able to gather, together with what the police also find, putting in perspective all the investigations we are doing and the way forward.
DSP AFIA TENGE, thank you for your time this afternoon. DSP AFIA TENGE speaks for the Accra Region Police. That's a very sad story to tell. I mean, this gentleman has confessed to killing his daughter and his German girlfriend. The police are still on it. They're trying to establish, first of all, motive and also to find out how they were killed. They're also hoping to reach out to the German embassy here in Accra to let them know what has happened. Well, let's talk about accident. Another thing that's killing people, if not being murdered. There's been so much work done, so much policy and so much enforcement. But this year, accidents on our roads are rather worsening. The latest figures from the police shows nearly 2,000 people died through road crashes in Ghana since January. And here is the more worrying situation. There was a 16.5% increase in motorcycle accidents. And all these are happening in a year in which many were locked up for many weeks due to coronavirus. And these are contained in a document titled Motor Accident Returns, released by the Ghana Police Service. Here are details of the statistics they share. So if you look at Accra, they're looking at a total of 30,012. In Tema, 952. In Eastern Region, 976. Central Region, 700. Western, 712. Ashanti Region now seems to have the biggest number after Accra is 2,338. The Volta region has 348 and the Northern region has 139. It looks like a distribution across all of the regions. Now, if you look at those vehicles that were involved in accidents that were commercial in nature, Accra has 55. And I'm just looking at the very final detail, the final figures here. 55, Tema 37, Eastern region, Central put together, you have 115 and 103, Western region 22, Ashanti 171, Volta 35, and the Northern region 10. So those are vehicles, number of vehicles involved in accidents. We're looking at the vehicles that are privately owned vehicles that have been involved in accidents. Accra, we're looking at 78, Tema 34, Eastern region 70, Central. Okay, so Central we have 36, Western region 23, Ashanti 80, Volta 37, and 7 for the Northern region. I mean, those are figures, but of course, they involve human beings. This morning, my colleague, Mamavio Uswabuaji, engaged the Director of Research and Training at the MTTD Superintendent, Kweku Obing.
The road safety problem that confront us, that normally undermine our public health and safety, is surging as compared with the same period last year. And in particular, if you look at it in terms of when we moved from the first quarter to the second quarter, where we were confronted with the COVID, which resulted in many of us getting restricted in our homes. Post-COVID, I might say, or post-restriction period of COVID has led to astronomical surge in road crashes, leading to more accidents being recorded as compared to last year, and vehicles involved in these crashes increasing more than last year, and associated injured persons have in fact generally also increased, and then deaths of compatriots have also increased. So if you look at all the indicators, it doesn't look good. But generally, when you look in it, you realize that vehicles involved in these crashes, vehicles that got involved in these crashes, the private vehicles slowed marginally.
Okay. So less private vehicles
getting involved in crashes as compared to commercial vehicles and motorcycles.
Okay.
And if you look at the vehicles user class, you observe that the percentile increase, particularly with motorcycles, be it tricycles or quadricycles or motorbicycles, increased worryingly by 16.55%.
So wherever you are, you want to be careful on the road. You want to arrive alive, and you want to make sure that you stay focused when you are behind the wheels. Well, as part of its 30th anniversary, the optical services company Robert & Sons has donated 15,000-litre water storage tank and 40 packs of braille worth 10,000 Ghana cedis to the Kropon School for the Blind. There is more in this report.
Robert & Sons Company Limited donated a 15,000-litre water storage tank and 40 packs of braille worth 10,000 Ghana cedis to a Kropon School for the Blind. Speaking at the event was Monique Atta, the Deputy Managing Director for Robert & Sons. She said they chose a Kropon School for the Blind because it is a school with vision. Speaking at the event was Monique Atta, the Deputy Managing Director for Robert & Sons. She said they chose a Kropon School for the Blind because it is a school with vision. She added that they are offering comprehensive eye care to every individual because the eye is one of the delicate parts of the human body, and advised Ghanaians to check their eyes every 18 months to avoid complications.
In line with our 30th anniversary, we decided to do something to support the Kropon School for the Blind. In communication with them, we realized what some of their needs were. And so, in line with our 30th, as well as the current pandemic that we're in, we thought through the best thing to do to help them provide the services they are providing to the students, as well as to help them through the pandemic.
Mrs. Mahila Na is the headmistress of a Kropon School for the Blind, and she expressed her gratitude to the company. She explained the situation of visually impaired children in COVID times.
But in Susukra say a becosi, or stanka, ye nitanka, a susi, a school ha. Sa I no issue, a wonk will boho, nansu, near Debiana pipe eba. And see a boho, no se buma says a bisu ye juma. And see ye be pepinus and a boho, why a chigu tank no. Sene beya, a tot Debian who ye din, or muchi, or muko boons, you know, a word polytank no. And
you can reach out to them anytime that you want to do so. We'll take a very quick break here. We'll come back shortly with more. Just stay with us. Welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. Well, advocates have argued that for several years, mental health issues have not received the needed attention and visibility in our part of the world. Well, I'll tell you about Rotary Club that is intervening. The Rotary Club of Accra South. They are doing this in collaboration with other partners. And what they're doing is embarking on a project to build a psychological health resource center. Let's get on Zoom. I have Olivia Opon-Fosu, who is a member of the project committee of the Rotary Club of Accra South, and Joy Enima Deborah, PRO for the Ghana Psychological Association, for this conversation. I'll start with you, Joy. You are with the Ghana Psychological Association. To first of all, give us an understanding of why such an intervention is so necessary. I think you're muted. So if you click on the unmute button for me, I can start to hear you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
I do. Great. Please go ahead.
All right. We are talking about mental health, which is about how we think, how we behave, and how we relate with other people. And this is something that happens in our daily life and does not affect only children or a particular age, but affects everybody. In fact, when you look at the WHO report, 2012, it says that about a quarter of the world's population is at risk. And that is why mental health is very important for everybody. And for that reason, for us to be able to think properly and to behave properly and to relate properly in terms of our our moods and our feelings and our actions, we need to have a sound mental health. And that would also make sure that we are being productive.
Right.
And yes, we also need to think of mental health in terms of the cost that comes with it, especially when you look at somebody with any mental disorder. It is not only the person who is sick that we're losing the services that or productivity from, but also we can think of caregivers who necessarily may not be paid, and also the services that they are giving to them because they are not paid, they are not earning, and that the society or the country is not also earning.
Then it affects.
And much as they attend to such persons, they also invariably also have a lot of effects, psychological effects, that comes from attending or giving care to
the people who need it. Very well. Let me bring in Olivia. Olivia, so it's good. We have a background to this, that mental health is linked to our very existence and our productivity. Let's look at the intervention that Rotary Club of Accra South is bringing in. Tell us a bit more about the psychological center that you're building. I think you're muted as well, Olivia. Okay, looks like I'm not set for Olivia at the moment. We'll try and just hit on the unmute button for me, and I'll be able to hear you. Olivia, can I try that with you again? Okay, right. So let me wrap this up with you, Enima. Will you be able to throw some light on this project? I believe you have been a part of the conversation to put this project together. What can you tell us about that psychological center project?
All right. So our collaboration that we have it's also in commemoration of the World Mental Health Day, which is on the theme mental health for all, greater investment, greater access, everyone, everywhere. But this day falls on the 10th of October, which is a Saturday. So on the Friday, which is the 9th, a collaboration between Ghana Psychological Association and Rotary Club and Psychological Department, University of Ghana, are jointly organizing a seminar, and it will also be a webinar because people can Zoom and take part of it with expertise to discuss depression on the mental health ladder, healthcare neglect, and economic costs. And it is at this program that we will be launching the Mental Health Resource Center that Rotary would be financing to build for the promotion of mental health in Ghana. And this is a one-stop shop where we would have psychological services provided for people who may visit the place, and also officers and conference halls that would be necessary for training and also for practice for psychological students.
We had Olivia give us more of the information, but it looks like we're having a problem with her sound. Olivia. Hello. Okay, let's see if this will work. I've run out of time, but let's see if we can squeeze this in quickly. Olivia. Yes.
Yes, quickly. Rotary Club of Accra South is celebrating 20 years of its inception. And we thought that we would look at a project like this It's very ambitious, but then our tenet is that we want to do service above ourselves. So although it's ambitious, we see a need in that area. Okay. And we have something that guides us, the 4-way test. Everything we do, say, or think, what we question ourselves is it the truth? So it's true that mental health is needed in this country, and support for mental health is really low. Is it fair to all concerned? Yes, there are many people who don't have that care. Yeah. So it's fair that we do this for the population. Great. And then will it build goodwill and better friendships? Yes, it certainly will. Because families are ostracizing people with mental health, with depression. They cannot get it. Right. And then the last is that, will it be fair to all concerned? Yes, it's fair to bring everybody on board. We've done polio, we've done capacity building, we do all sorts of projects. This is a flagship one. 20 years, we want to start this, we want to build a center, we want to have a one-stop shop where people would go and have relief for mental illness.
It's a great idea, I must say, but and I'm sure that all is not lost. The video is not very clear, but I'm certain that we'll have some time when this project even begins to talk a bit more about it, so to raise it, create the attention, the awareness that's necessary for mental health. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me. I had the Ghana Psychological Association's PRO Joy Enim Deborah, and I also had Olivia Oponfosu, member of the Rotary Club of Accra South. They are building a psychological center, and we're grateful for that. This is still The Pulse with me, Gifty and Opia. We're going to Germany. Now, 4 districts in the German capital are now described as high-risk coronavirus zones as concerns soar not only in Germany but across Europe. The coronavirus numbers continue to increase, and yet the colder months of the year are gradually approaching. So how are authorities explaining this, what is happening? Thomas Sparrow is political correspondent with our partners DW, and we cross over to him in Germany for more. Thomas, good afternoon to you. Now, which are the districts being described as high-risk zones for coronavirus right now?
We're talking about several districts here in the capital, Berlin, in particular, some of the districts that are most well known among tourists, among foreign visitors as well. And those districts have now become, or at least they're being described as high-risk zones according to how the German government and German authorities describe these high-risk zones. In other words, they are beyond the limit where measures have to be taken in order to reduce that number. In particular, as I say, we're talking about regions that are well known among tourists, and that include some of the most important tourist sites here in the German capital, or at least also where people go out at night. And this is one particular concern that authorities have here in the German capital: nightlife. That's why, for example, among the measures that have been taken by local politicians here in Berlin, we're talking about a night curfew between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. and between those hours people will also not be able to meet, for example, in parks, so there are also contact restrictions. This is to reduce the chances of people getting infected with the coronavirus, because Berlin has become one of the flashpoints, one of the hotspots, if you will, of coronavirus in Germany, and that is something that clearly worries authorities. It's also, however, important to stress that it's not only Berlin. Other big German cities have also been particularly affected. There are areas of concern, as I already mentioned, one, nightlife. The other one is people returning from high-risk zones, in other words, travelers. That is something that for a long time now has been of concern to German authorities. And a third issue, people who are flouting some of the coronavirus restrictions, whether they're not wearing their masks or maintaining social distancing, and that's why there have been a lot of fines also imposed in Germany's biggest cities.
It's interesting that you mentioned fines. So they established the reasons why the numbers are going up, the behavior of the people. But we know that the authorities are also punishing people, and through this, they've actually generated some 3 million euros.
That's correct. That's quite a lot of money. We're talking here about 35,000 separate fines in Germany's 7 biggest cities. And this has been a very debated issue here in this country at the beginning. You may remember we even spoke about this on our program. They were very reluctant to impose fines, asking people voluntarily to wear masks, voluntarily to maintain distancing and keep those hygiene measures that are so important. But it came to the point where they had to agree on a minimum fine. The minimum fine is 50 euros, for example, for people who don't wear their masks on public transport, although in some regions there has also been debate and they have been saying, well, this is not necessarily what is most effective when it comes to fighting against the coronavirus. But we're talking about measures that have been taken also, for example, to prevent people from writing fake names. If you go here to a restaurant or if you go to a bar, you have to write down your name and address and telephone. This is because of contact tracing purposes. In other words, if someone is infected in that bar or that restaurant, they can identify who was actually with that person at a specific time. But if someone writes down Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, and we've seen actually that from happening, then you have problems with contact tracing, and that's why authorities also agreed to fine people who specifically mention fake names when they go to a bar or they go to a restaurant.
Very interesting how coronavirus is panning out in Germany. But 3 million is still a lot of money when money is what's needed, part of what's needed to deal with this virus. But let's talk about the updates on the vaccine. Has Germany made any strides in that regard?
You know that, Gifty, that there's a big struggle not only here in Germany but in other parts of the world to try and find a vaccine as quickly and as safely as possible. That has a very important reason, namely that until there is a vaccine, people will still have to wear their masks and they will still have to maintain social distancing and they will still have to ventilate, especially now in the colder months, and they will still have to, for example, here in Germany, keep that tracing app which the government has asked people to download. So until there is a vaccine, people will still have to be extremely careful. Even after there is a vaccine, I do imagine people will have to remain very careful when it comes to possible infections. And as such, there are different companies around the world that have been trying to find that vaccine as quickly as possible. There is one German company among those trying to find a vaccine. It's called BioNTech, and it has been working hand in hand with giant Pfizer. And as such, something that they did do in recent days was present their vaccine proposal to EU regulators. And this is particularly important, a particularly important step when it comes to trying to find out whether that vaccine can then eventually be used in Germany, but also in Europe. And this has been described as a second such vaccine to be presented to EU regulators, as well as another one by AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford. So this gives you just an idea of how important this has been. It's not only about those issues that we've been discussing, whether it's fining people who flout the rules or making sure that people fulfill all those requirements or talking to people for them to wear their mask. It's also about this scientific development that's going hand in hand, and there is a big question as to when exactly that vaccine will be able to be in the market and who could then benefit from that vaccine. Those are very important questions that we're obviously following very closely.
Certainly, we'll be here to get more on that. Here in Ghana, we have not recorded, as many numbers as has been recorded in Europe, but we certainly keep wearing our masks. This is good lessons for us, but indeed, how authorities can even make money off people who are being recalcitrant. Thomas, thank you so much for that update from Germany. Thomas Sparrow is political correspondent with our partners DW, and he's been following up on this issue of coronavirus in today's crossover to that country. And Nathaniel Atto is standing by. This is where we end it for me for now. There's more news at myjoyonline.com. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Many thanks for your time. Let's do this again tomorrow.